I had to ask what kind of rope Mendoza has. I don't even think the issues are his, and doubt the Mets would even consider firing him unless things were awful heading into June. What do you think, given that is likely the first big button they'll push? So we kind of hinted at this earlier, Joe. So I think there are issues right now around Mendoza, right? There are things that are very unfair to Mendoza. The unfair nature of baseball is in the season, especially this far out from the deadline, there's not a lot of buttons you could press. That's just how the sport works, man. Like, it's not a sport where in hockey you could switch up the lines or you can give a different goalie a look, and that can make a big difference on a team. Basketball is a whole nother Wild West with the load management, but there's more trades in basketball, it feels like, in season. And then, of course, with football, guys will get benched. In baseball, that's just not really how it goes. Like, are you gonna, like you said, you can't even bench Francisco Lindor because there's no other shortstop right now. Yeah. So the manager, unfortunately, is one of the buttons you can press. My criticisms, though, of Mendoza, Joe, are two things that I think are fair. And I'm not saying you fire him today, but if it just lingers like this for a long time. One, the team just has a flat energy. It is bizarre. Winning usually cures that, but the Mets aren't winning. So is there something here that the message is stale, or there's an accountability issue, or they just need then this is always how it goes in sports. You go from one kind of manager to a different kind of manager. I would imagine Buck is a guy that can really drill into players' fundamentals, and he knows different messaging for different players. But Buck also, one, didn't really seem like he was interested in going through the ups and downs of young players. And then also, it does wear out. Both sides wear out. The second thing for me, Joe, is there's been a lot of mental errors with this team, and that's just going to fall on Mendoza at some point. And these are professional baseball players. They need to cut down the mental errors. How many times on the bases? How many times in the field? And am I blaming Francisco Lindor's mental errors on Carlos Mendoza? Absolutely not. Francisco Lindor's been in this league a really, really long time at a high level, but it's going to fall on the manager eventually. And I don't think the Mets operate like the Yankees, where it's like, it's Aaron Boone. We're just going to keep going on and on. David Stearns might operate like that. Steve Cohen calls the shots. And I think if this lingers on for the Mets, I think Mendoza's in big trouble by the time we get to the end of May if this continues.
Yeah, I'm with you, Connor. And like you said, and also too, to the Yankees point, like the Yankees at least win a bunch of baseball games every year. They make the playoffs every year, but they don't go to the ultimate goal. They're a lot like my favorite Dallas Cowboys. They're typically good in the regular season, and then they get to the playoffs and don't go necessarily where they're supposed to. As far as like Mendoza and how much rope does he have, I don't think a ton. Look, I said it before. It's the last year of his contract. And so he's not under contractual control beyond this year. With that said, I know there's a lot of screaming and shouting about getting rid of Carlos Mendoza now. And, I can understand some of the post-game things that he says. They don't mean a whole lot, but I can understand why they bother fans. Just hearing every day that, man, this is a really talented team. They're going to turn around. It's a really talented team. They're going to turn it around. Even if that could be true, I just want to hear him say something else some days. That's just not that. But as far as it's going to come down to wins and losses, that's really it. We can dissect decisions. We could dissect all these things. How many games do they win? How many games do they lose? If they're losing baseball games in 5 in a row clips, and we're getting into, as you said, closer to Memorial Day, I think that's when actual job jeopardy will come into play. I know Mets fans want Carlos Mendoza gone now. Like, I don't think they're going to get rid of him for being around 500 in April. But if we are under 500 in the back half of May, I think that conversation will not just get loud amongst fans and maybe some local media, but I think it'll be a consideration in the Mets front office.
I wonder what the odds would be from a book today if they set Carlos Beltran to be joining his number retirement from the Mets dugout as manager.
What do you do, Connor? The couple days when he's going to Cooperstown to get inducted, he can't manage the team. So you have to have an interim manager for your interim manager. You have
Tommy Pham, player manager. Tommy Pham, player manager. You heard it here first.
It's not the worst, Connor. Just let him throw. Can you imagine like an analytics department stepping into a room with Tom and Sam?
No.
And they don't hand him a lineup card, but they're like, hey, let's talk about the lineup. He'll be like, get out this door right now.
You don't talk to me about anything, is what he would say. Yeah. I set my lineup for fantasy football all the time. I don't need your help setting a baseball lineup, a sport I've been a professional in for over a decade.
You've seen Connor Ingos, and you've seen what happens if anyone crosses me in fantasy football. So let's not test the theory.
Yeah, Tommy Pham, player manager. You heard it here first, just while covering for Beltran getting inducted into the Hall of Fame.